If you're over 60, this message could truly save your life. Stroke rarely gives you a second chance. It doesn't knock or send a warning. One moment, you're reading the paper, sipping your coffee, and the next, your speech slurs, your balance disappears, or your hand won't move. As a brain doctor, I've seen too many older adults suffer devastating strokes, not because of genetics or bad habits, but because of something they thought was healthy, something found right in their kitchens. Fruits. Every day, millions of seniors eat certain fruits believing they're boosting energy, lowering cholesterol, or protecting their hearts. But the truth is, some of these fruits, especially when eaten regularly or combined with common medications, can silently raise your stroke risk overnight. In this video, I'll reveal 5 popular fruits that could trigger blood pressure spikes, brain vessel spasms, or even lead to brain bleeds, all while you sleep. You'll hear real patient stories, backed by medical evidence, and learn what to eat instead to protect your mind, memory, and independence. Stay with me, because what's in your fruit bowl may be doing more harm than good. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Banana, the golden fruit that can harm your kidneys and raise stroke risk. Bananas. They're soft, easy to eat, full of potassium, and for decades we've been told they're a heart-healthy snack, especially for seniors. But what if I told you that this innocent fruit, when eaten at the wrong time or by the wrong person, could quietly raise your risk of a deadly overnight stroke? Let me be clear. Potassium is essential for your body. It helps with muscle function, nerve health, and heart rhythm. But for many older adults, especially those over 65, too much potassium can become a silent killer. As we age, our kidneys naturally begin to slow down. Even if you've never been diagnosed with kidney disease, you may already have reduced renal function without knowing it. And here's where it gets dangerous. When your kidneys can't process excess potassium, it builds up in your blood. High potassium levels can slow your heartbeat, trigger arrhythmias, and worse, constrict the tiny vessels in your brain, setting the stage for a stroke while you sleep. I remember one patient vividly. Mr. Charles Whitman, 78 years old, a retired school bus driver from Indiana. He was a kind man, disciplined, thoughtful, and proud of his health routine. Every night he'd slice a banana, add a drizzle of honey, and call it his heart-smart dessert. But Mr. Whitman also had stage 2 chronic kidney disease, something he considered no big deal. No one ever warned him that bananas might pose a risk. One morning, he didn't wake up as usual. His wife found him confused, slurring his words, and unable to move his left side. At the hospital, a CT scan confirmed he'd suffered an ischemic stroke overnight. Blood tests revealed potassium levels at 6.2 mSv, well into the danger zone. The cause? Unmonitored potassium buildup, worsened by his nightly banana and a common blood pressure medication that also retains potassium. A snack he thought was keeping him alive was silently working against his brain. The aftermath was heartbreaking. Mr. Whitman lost partial mobility in his left arm, needed months of speech therapy, and could no longer drive. He told me later, tears in his eyes, "Doc, no one ever told me a banana could do this to me." This is the truth no one talks about. At a younger age, your body could handle that potassium surge. But past 65, especially if you take ACE inhibitors like lisinopril or have decreased kidney function, That same banana can tip your system into crisis. And the scariest part, there are often no symptoms until it's too late. So before you reach for a banana tonight thinking it's just fruit, ask yourself, do I know how my kidneys are doing? Do I take medications that affect potassium levels? Has anyone checked my labs recently? Because what you don't know can hurt you, and what seems harmless might cost you your independence or your life. And if you think bananas are risky, wait until you hear what's hiding inside America's favorite superfood. It's creamy, trendy, and packed with more potassium than you'd ever guess. Let's talk about avocados. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number one below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number two. Two, avocado, the superfood that's super high in potassium. Avocados are everywhere, on toast, in smoothies, in heart healthy meal plans. For years, they've been praised as a miracle food, rich in healthy fats, fiber, and antioxidants. But behind the creamy green flesh lies a serious risk for many older adults. Dangerously high potassium, enough to quietly strain your heart, damage your kidneys, and even trigger a stroke. You see, one medium avocado contains nearly 1,000 potassium. That's more than a whole banana. And for a healthy young adult, that may not mean much. But for someone over 65, especially with even mild kidney impairment or on certain blood pressure medications, that amount of potassium can overwhelm the body's delicate balance. Most seniors don't realize that as the kidneys age, their ability to filter and eliminate excess potassium declines, even without a diagnosis of kidney disease. And when potassium builds up, the consequences can be swift and catastrophic. Heart rhythm disturbances, unstable blood pressure, vessel constriction in the brain, and sudden neurological events. I'll never forget Mrs. Lorraine Keller, 81 years old, a retired piano teacher from Illinois. She was vibrant, independent, and took pride in eating smart. Every morning, she prepared herself the same breakfast: half an avocado on whole grain toast with a sprinkle of salt and a sliced tomato. It looked like something from a wellness magazine. She also had high blood pressure and was taking spironolactone, a common potassium sparing diuretic. No one had ever told her that spironolactone plus avocado was a dangerous combination. One afternoon, she stood up from the couch and collapsed. Her husband called 911. At the hospital, her potassium was 6.7 millimole L, a medical emergency. Her heart had briefly entered an arrhythmic state, and a transient ischemic attack, TIA, a mini stroke, had followed. Luckily, there was no permanent brain damage, but her confidence was shaken. She became fearful of cooking for herself. She stopped going to church, too afraid of falling in public. She told me later in our follow up appointment, "Doctor, I thought I was doing everything right. I didn't know food could do this." That's the tragedy. She was doing everything right, but right for whom? At 30, that avocado may have been a perfect choice. At 81, with reduced kidney function and prescription medications in the mix, it was a ticking time bomb. This is why I tell my senior patients, what's healthy in general isn't always healthy for you. There's no shame in not knowing, but there's danger in not asking. If you're over 60, on any medication that affects potassium, like lisinopril, losartan, or spironolactone, or have even borderline kidney issues, you must be cautious with high potassium foods, especially ones as deceptively healthy as avocado. The risk isn't weight gain or indigestion, it's heart failure, brain bleed, or a stroke that steals your independence in a single moment. And here's the twist: avocado is not even the most underestimated source of potassium in your kitchen. That title might go to something you probably drink every morning, believing it starts your day right. Let's talk about orange juice and why what's in your glass might be setting your brain up for the perfect storm. 3. Orange and orange juice, the hidden morning danger. For decades, orange juice has been a symbol of American health. It's on breakfast tables across the country, from sunny Florida kitchens to retirement homes in Oregon. We're told it's full of vitamin C, good for the immune system, and the perfect way to start the day right. But for many older adults, especially those taking certain medications or living with silent kidney issues, that glass of juice may be doing the exact opposite, silently raising your stroke risk before you even step out of your robe. Let's talk about potassium. Again, one 8-ounce glass of orange juice contains over 470 milligrams of potassium. That's a significant dose, especially for the first thing in the morning when your body is dehydrated, your blood vessels are still constricted from sleep, and your kidneys may not be fully functioning at their best. And if you've already taken your blood pressure medications, particularly ACE inhibitors like lisinopril or ARBs like losartan, you're doubling down on potassium retention. Here's what happens. Your kidneys are responsible for filtering out excess potassium. But in older age, especially over 65, that function slows naturally. If you have mild chronic kidney disease and you're unaware, as most people are, it only takes a little extra potassium to push your system out of balance. That can cause blood pressure to spike suddenly, or worse, vessels in the brain to constrict or rupture. And the symptoms don't always show up right away. Sometimes the first sign is a stroke. One patient I'll never forget is Mr. Harold Green, age 79, a retired accountant from New Jersey. Every morning, like clockwork, Harold had the same routine: wake up, take his blood pressure pills, and sit by the window with a glass of fresh squeezed orange juice. It was his peaceful moment before the day began. But one Tuesday, something changed. He stood up after breakfast and felt a wave of dizziness, then fell hard in the kitchen. His wife called 911. By the time he reached the ER, he had lost movement on his right side. A CT scan showed a mild hemorrhagic stroke, a small bleed deep in the brain. His potassium level was elevated. Combined with the vasodilating effects of his morning medication, the juice had helped trigger a perfect storm in his vascular system. He survived, but his balance never fully returned. He now walks with a cane. He stopped going to his weekly veterans meetings. "I thought juice was good for me," he said with disbelief during a follow-up. "I never imagined it could knock me off my feet, literally." The truth is, we don't question juice, we trust it. But what you trust can still betray you, especially if your body no longer processes things the way it used to. Your morning routine may feel familiar, even comforting, but for some, it's the beginning of a chain reaction that ends in confusion, paralysis, or worse. And it's not just juice. Whole oranges also carry high potassium, over 230 milliliters per medium fruit. Eat a couple with breakfast or combine them with other fruits in a smoothie, and you could be pushing past safe limits before 9 a.m. So here's what I want you to take away from this. If you are over 65, especially if you take blood pressure medications or have a history of kidney disease, you need to be mindful of where potassium is hiding. And sometimes it hides in plain sight, in a glass that looks harmless, even healing. Still think fruit can't hurt you? Then you need to know about the ones that look tiny, feel innocent, and pack even more potassium per bite than an entire banana. Let's talk about dried fruits, the small but dangerous treats that can quietly overload your brain's delicate balance. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Dried fruits, small but potent, packed with potassium. They look harmless, sweet, chewy, and often labeled as heart-healthy snacks. Dried apricots, raisins, prunes, figs. Most of us grew up thinking they were nature's candy. And for a younger, healthy body, they can be. But for older adults, especially those over 65, these tiny bites can carry enormous consequences. What many seniors don't know is that drying fruit removes water but concentrates everything else, especially potassium. Just 5 dried apricots can contain over 500 milliliters of potassium. A handful of raisins, nearly 600 milliliters. That's more than a whole banana, and you don't even feel full after eating them. Now imagine adding that to your breakfast while taking lisinopril for blood pressure or managing even mild kidney disease, which often goes undiagnosed in older adults. Your kidneys may no longer be able to filter out excess potassium efficiently. The result? Potassium slowly accumulates, silently pushing your heart and brain toward danger. Let me tell you about Mrs. Marlene Fitzgerald, 84 years old, a retired librarian from Ohio. She came to my office complaining of mild dizziness and a fuzzy feeling in her head that came and went. She thought it was just part of aging, but after she nearly fainted during her morning walk, her daughter brought her in for testing. Her lab work showed elevated potassium, and her ECG revealed early signs of cardiac rhythm changes. What was the cause? She wasn't taking any potassium supplements, she wasn't eating bananas or drinking orange juice, but she had been snacking on dried figs and dates every afternoon, something she picked up from a health article promoting natural energy for seniors. The price she paid was terrifying: a near miss arrhythmia and a brain so starved of steady blood flow that she was inches away from a stroke. Her independence was shaken, her confidence was shattered. "I just wanted something natural," she said quietly. "No one ever told me fruit could hurt me." And that's exactly the problem. These foods hide behind a healthy label, but for aging bodies, especially those on medications or with compromised kidneys, too much potassium from dried fruits can be dangerous, even deadly. No warning signs, no full stomach to slow you down, just a few bites repeated daily, and suddenly you're in the ER. So the next time you see a packet of prunes at the checkout line or sprinkle raisins over your cereal, think twice. You're not just snacking, you could be slowly tipping your body toward a medical crisis. And if dried fruits can do that much damage in small amounts, what about the drink many seniors turn to, believing it's pure, natural, and hydrating? You may be surprised to learn that even nature's healthiest water may not be meant for you. Let's talk about coconut water and why it's not as safe as you think. 5. Coconut water, nature's drink. That isn't for everyone. It's been marketed as the perfect hydration drink, nature's Gatorade. Coconut water shows up on TV ads, in fitness magazines, even in wellness blogs targeting older adults. It promises electrolytes, better heart health, and more energy. But behind its tropical charm lies a hidden threat for seniors: extremely high potassium, and the very real possibility of stroke, heart rhythm changes, or dangerous blood pressure drops. One 11-ounce container of coconut water can contain 600 milliliters of potassium, sometimes even more. For a healthy young athlete, that might be helpful. But for someone over 65, especially those on blood pressure medications or with even mildly reduced kidney function, that amount of potassium is too much, too fast. Most seniors don't realize that coconut water doesn't act like regular water. It changes how your body handles electrolytes and blood pressure, particularly when combined with medications like lisinopril, losartan, or spironolactone. The result can be terrifying. A sudden drop in blood pressure, dizziness, or worse, electrical instability in the heart, and constricted vessels in the brain. I think often of Mr. Frank Delgado, 76, a retired electrician from Arizona. He started drinking coconut water after reading it was good for the heart. He swapped his morning coffee for it, thinking it was the smarter choice. But Frank was also on medication for high blood pressure and early stage kidney disease, facts he didn't connect to the drink in his hand. After a week of coconut water every morning, he fainted while gardening. His wife rushed him to the ER. Doctors found his potassium at 6.5 millimole Al, his heart in an irregular rhythm, and his blood pressure dangerously low. Worse, an MRI showed transient ischemia in a section of his brain, a near stroke. When I saw him in follow-up, Frank was angry, confused, and scared. "No one told me a drink could do this," he said. "I thought I was being healthy." That's the heartbreaking reality. Frank didn't make a reckless choice. He made a misinformed one, and it nearly cost him his independence. He now walks more slowly, stopped mowing the lawn, and doesn't trust food labels without checking with his doctor. If you're over 65, especially if you take medications or have been told your kidney function isn't perfect, coconut water is not just water. It's a powerful electrolyte drink that your body may no longer handle safely. And the effects are not always obvious until you collapse, or worse, wake up unable to speak, move, or remember your name. Still think all fruits and drinks are safe? Then you need to see the list of brain-safe fruits that nourish your mind without silently hurting your heart or kidneys. Let's talk about what you should be eating instead. 6. What to eat instead. Brain-safe fruits for seniors. After hearing how something as innocent as fruit can quietly increase your stroke risk, many seniors are left asking the same haunting question. If even healthy foods can be dangerous, what's left that's safe? I understand that fear. I've seen it on the faces of patients who genuinely thought they were doing everything right, only to learn that their so-called smart choices were silently working against their aging bodies. But here's the truth that brings both hope and healing. There are fruits that nourish your brain, protect your heart, and support healthy aging without overloading your kidneys, blood pressure, or brain vessels. You just have to know where to look. One of my patients, Mrs. Carol Jennings, 73, a retired school principal from Arizona, came to me with a drawer full of vitamins and a fruit bowl stocked with bananas, oranges, avocados, and dried mango. Her blood pressure was rising, her balance was off, and she felt tired every morning. She was frustrated. "I eat fruit, I walk every day, I'm doing what they say," she told me. But what no one had ever explained to her was how potassium-rich fruits and supplements were overwhelming her aging kidneys, spiking her blood pressure overnight, and creating the exact brain fog and dizziness she was trying to avoid. So we simplified everything. No more mega doses of vitamins, no more superfruit powders. We went back to basics, nature's real medicine in the right amounts and right forms. Each morning, Carol began her day with a hard-boiled egg, a slice of whole grain toast, half an apple, a small handful of blueberries, and a glass of room temperature water. On alternate days, she'd switch in a handful of strawberries or black grapes, all fruits with low potassium, high antioxidant content, and gentle on the kidneys and vascular system. Within 3 weeks, her energy returned. The dizziness faded, her blood pressure stabilized, and more importantly, her confidence came back. She looked me in the eye and said, "Doctor, for the first time in months, I feel steady again." That's the power of choosing brain-safe fruits. Blueberries protect the small blood vessels in your brain with potent antioxidants. Strawberries help reduce inflammation and support cognitive clarity. Apples, with their soluble fiber, gently regulate blood sugar and cholesterol without taxing your kidneys. Grapes, in moderation, improve circulation and protect against oxidative stress. Pineapple, when fresh and unsweetened, offers vitamin C without the potassium overload. And pears, often overlooked, provide hydration, fiber, and are easy on digestion. These are not miracle cures, but they are safe, brain-nourishing choices, especially when combined with proper hydration, steady physical activity, and mindful medication management. The cost of getting it wrong? It's not just a bad day. It's a fall, a stroke, a hospital stay, a life changed in the blink of an eye. But the reward for getting it right? Clarity, balance, control, peace of mind. And if all of this has made you think differently about the fruits in your kitchen and the habits in your routine, then I invite you to stay with me. Because in this final message, I want to show you why awareness, not more pills or more fruit, is the most powerful medicine you still have. The final wake-up call: awareness is the most powerful medicine. If you've made it this far, you're not just someone curious about health. You're someone who wants to protect your mind, your independence, and your future. And that matters more than any vitamin, any trendy fruit, or any new miracle drink. As a brain doctor, I've stood beside patients who lost the ability to speak, walk, or even recognize their loved ones. Not because of one big accident, but because of small choices repeated daily with the best intentions. They believed what they were doing was right. No one told them that age changes everything: how your kidneys filter, how your blood vessels react, how your brain tolerates pressure. At 30, your body adapts. At 70, it begins to warn you, but only if you know how to listen. That's why awareness, not more supplements, not more restrictive diets, is your greatest defense. Take time to review what's in your kitchen. Read labels. Ask your doctor about your potassium levels, your kidney function, your medication interactions. And most of all, listen to your body. That morning dizziness, that racing heart, that foggy memory. It's not just aging. It may be a warning. The most dangerous thing is not what we eat. It's what we assume is safe. Protecting your brain isn't about fear. It's about power. The power to choose wisely before something irreversible happens. Because your greatest medicine is knowledge applied. And it starts tomorrow morning at your breakfast table. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.